So Ike recently visited the Chris Network, and he was commenting towards Chris some things that seemed like they were landing themselves in a difficult position for Chris to answer. Let's listen.
I'm a Muslim, I'm 72 virgins.
So basically, at this part, they were talking about, what is it that Christians get when they get there? What if you were poor when you were down here on earth and you lived a very poor life? Them virgins for Muslims. What do Christians get? We must get something special.
But in the Mabashwana, they give him 72 virgins. What
do I get?
My brother, okay, let's face it. You do a Christian show, let's face it.
So he says, you're doing Christian content, isn't it? So what do they get? Chris said no answer, because you see what we've been saying. This thing of just listening to Christians and not studying it yourself can create problems. Strict Reality Show with the daily Christian commentary videos. Other episodes done today, they'll be down in the pinned comments. So, for those that don't know, Ike is an advocate. Okay? He's a very smart man. Very, very educated man, as you can see. So, you see him on the podcasts and so forth. He has a long rap sheet. Okay? The man is extremely educated. Don't get it twisted. Okay? Now, life might have dealt him a number, and so as a result of what you hear him commenting on social media consistently. So that's what life does. It will give you a couple of beatings, but there's answers for that. So not long ago, when there was the looting situation, Ike actually ended up in court on suspicions of some of the comments he made on social media, since the post actually states it very clear. Not only is he just an advocate, but he is also a person who does advocacy work, kind of like motivate the people, want the right for the people, that whole nine watches. So when he appeared recently on the Chris Network, he seemed to have had a lot of questions.
It's like, do you say my boss? Rather would know I want to manager. But now he has my boss. It doesn't come out right, my boss.
So he is talking about the idea of submission here. Now I find this very weird that he says he's uncomfortable with submission. But yet when he speaks or comments about women, he speaks about this term of submission. Now how will they see submission when you have a mixed view on submission as a subject? Do you get what I mean? Like Ike has a problem with women not submitting. If you've listened to him on his podcast interviews, he's constantly talking about it. No submission nowadays, women nowadays, no submission. Okay. But then in the podcast with Chris, he clearly has a problem with the subject, to a point where it leads him to not be willing to submit.
I heard the other time Thierry Henry, even Dr. Khumalo in studio. No, the boss upstairs. No, man, it's too submissive. As a man, I think you should strive to be on your own and then lead. Well, there is hierarchy. You'll recognize, respect people, but my boss, I've never been like that. Maybe it's my personality. I've always worked and walked anywhere where I want. Even if they say here they are gangsters and all that. I don't believe in being submissive,
As a man.
So, you'll understand later why I'm saying he has a problem with hierarchy. He has a problem with submission. It affects how he sees God, is going to get into that. But then it places a question on what he requests from women when it comes to submission, if you've heard him pertaining that. But let's go on.
As a man, I mean, after God, there's you and whoever. And I even tell myself one day I hope to meet God. I'll ask God to lower himself to my level so that we talk man to man.
Some of these ideas, they sound interesting when you see them. Like, he hopes that when he meets God, he can have God lower himself. He can have God lower himself so that they can talk man to man. Ike. The creator of the heavens and the earth. What do you see where his problem is? He says he recognizes respecting people by their ranks, but then take that and then think that towards God. If he's creator of the heavens and the earth, he's not man to man, is it? It's not man to man. It's creator to man. So, what happened to the respect for God then? Ike, I'm not understanding.
There are certain things that I question that I don't understand.
He said he wants God to lower himself. Okay? I'll repeat that point first.
And whoever. And I even tell myself one day I hope to meet God. I'll ask God to lower himself to my level so that we talk man to man.
Now, why is that kind of bit of a problematic, right? It's that when God asks for submission, you take offense. But you are willing to ask him to not take offense, but to lower himself. Now, no problem, Ike. God has already done that. You're asking where? Boom. There it is. Philippians chapter number 2. Okay? You can Google the verse. Verse 5 and 6 into 7. It says, "Let this mind be in you, which was in Christ Jesus, who, existing in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be grasped, but emptied himself." Basically, to represent us, he took that right and he placed it on the side. He emptied himself and did what you are asking now, to come down in the form of man. And so that's what he has done already. He did not consider himself thinking to be something to be grasped, but he emptied himself to take on the form of a servant, being made in the human likeness, or being made in the likeness of humans. So that was him taking on that role of submission. So to ask him to submit under your own terms, when you can't accept his terms of submission, doesn't that sound a little bit off? Asking. Just asking. Nothing big. Is it not much you are asking when he has already brought himself down? He's already brought himself to submission. Is it not asking too much? The reason why I say is it not asking too much is because if we are looking at what this verse says here, it says he has already done that. He's already brought himself in the likeness of man, man to man, right? But then you are asking for something else now. Now, this goes on. Ike speaks. Ike goes on in his comments.
There are certain things that I question that I don't understand. what's happening here on earth. So I'll ask, but can we just sit,
and have a talk?
Amen, God. Now, God is not opposed to us asking him questions. Let's get it clear. It's the man-to-man thing that I ask.
As lower to my level, samachita sikhuluma ukuthi mfethu.
What would you like to address, man?
When I meet God, I'll ask him, no, the lack of intervention when adults are raping children. Where are you? Why don't you intervene?
Okay. So he goes on to state some of the issues he has with the Bible and God pertaining his intervention. Now, I'll ask this question. If you were speaking here, and because you are disrespecting God, and he just reached his hand down and slapped you, right? Yeah, because you are going against him. So if he responded right there and then, at that point, are you making decisions because he's controlled you to a point where you are making decisions because of fear? Or now, does it not make sense that he stands afar and lets you make the decisions you do? So if you understand free will to that point, it's free will that makes those people the terrible people that they are. This question is asked over and over, but the question should be asked, are you asking that there be no free will? What are you asking when you ask that? Goes on.
To stop what you're doing. I mean, there's so many injustices that are happening, here on earth. And a perpetrator, he's going to escape on his last day by merely asking for forgiveness, and then he enters heaven. All the sins that he did, they are wiped out.
You see, again, misunderstanding of God and God being a God of justice. God does not say everything will just be the sins are forgiven, but the person will pay for. They will pay for those. There is a lot to pay pertaining that. And I hope others will kind of take on this video. I don't want this video to be too long. He has a lot of questions pertaining that. And I'll check out, maybe Lwandiso will make an episode, or Nick will make an episode, because there is a lot more that he deals with pertaining God. But it goes back to these roots. When we say a person doesn't know God, this is what we mean. Knowing God would mean you know his intention with free will. Knowing God would mean understanding that free will does not stop one because they're about to do something bad. The same way you would be disrespectful towards him, he doesn't stop you. So we have to understand, what does free will mean? What does it do? Where does it apply? And it can't apply only when we want it, right? All man, when the Bible says he made us in his likeness and his image, it has a particular statement about expectation of roles, right? Now you misrepresenting your the roles that he expects out of you, and yet painting on him the expectations you have for him. There is never going to be a balance. You expect him to be submissive, but you can't submit. Creates a problem. Now tell me your thoughts down in the comment section. It's the Reality Show with daily Christian commentary videos. This interview, or this particular portion that I'm playing, just shows a light idea concerning what we mean when we say someone doesn't know God. It gives a light example of it, because we can assume the wrong things of God, or we can assume what we think and miss completely what God intends. You see, the Bible will tell you. It's about time Chris starts learning the Bible, because now, you see, people are coming there expecting him to give a comment on why do Christians believe what they believe. And Ike says, hey, but you are doing a Christian show. So what makes this right? Right? And so, having those answers is important. Now, again, what you tend to see with the people that watch Chris show is whenever an apologist appears there, they are opposed. Abantu abafundile ama-theologian, they are against that. Yeah, theologians or people who are apologists are people who have studied enough to be able to answer those questions. Now, someone comes to the platform and they have those questions. You guys don't have the answers. And then what kind of content are you consuming? The same type of things which opposes the people who would be educated enough to answer those questions. You gotta make up your mind. Gotta make up your mind. Are you fine with just the questions or do you want both? It's Ricky. I'll see you later. Let me hear from you down in the comments.